In 1945, the Nobel Prize was given for one of the most important discoveries in human history, the splitting of the atom, the discovery that would power cities and end a war. And it went to one man. But the person who actually explained what had happened, who did the physics, who proved it was even possible, who gave the discovery the very name we still use today, was not on the list. Her name was Lise Meitner. And the reason she wasn't in the laboratory on the night of the breakthrough is heartbreaking. She was a Jewish refugee, running for her life. This is the story of the woman who discovered nuclear fission and watched a man collect the prize for it. Lise Meitner was born in Vienna in 1878, at a time when universities were barely open to women at all. She fought her way in anyway, and became only the second woman ever to earn a doctorate in physics at the University of Vienna. Then she moved to Berlin, into the brilliant, ruthless world of German physics. The obstacles were absurd. At first, she was not even allowed to work in the main laboratory because she was a woman. She had to work in a converted carpenter's room in the basement, and for years she worked without pay. But her mind was undeniable. Albert Einstein would later call her our Marie Curie. In Berlin, she began a partnership that would last for 30 years with a chemist named Otto Hahn. It was a perfect match of talents. Hahn was the gifted chemist who could identify substances. Meitner was the physicist who understood the forces hiding inside the atom. Together, they were one of the most formidable scientific teams in the world. And by the 1930s, they were chasing one of the greatest puzzles in science. They were firing tiny particles called neutrons at uranium, the heaviest natural element, to see what it would become. The results made no sense. Something strange was happening inside that atom, and no one could explain what. Then history broke in. Lise Meitner was Jewish. As the Nazis tightened their grip on Germany, her life became more dangerous by the day. In 1938, Germany annexed Austria, and overnight, Meitner lost the Austrian passport that had protected her. She was now trapped, a Jewish scientist inside Nazi Germany, and the borders were closing. In July 1938, she fled. With the help of a Dutch colleague, she crossed the border into the Netherlands with almost nothing. Just a small suitcase and, the story goes, a diamond ring that Hahn had given her to bribe the guards if she was stopped. She left behind her home, her laboratory, and the work of a lifetime. She finally found refuge in Sweden, isolated, grieving, and nearly penniless. And it was right then, while she was in exile, that the discovery of the century finally arrived. Back in Berlin, Hahn ran the experiment they had designed together and got an impossible result. When he bombarded uranium, he found barium, an element far smaller, sitting in his test tube. By every rule of physics anyone knew, that should not happen. A heavy atom was not supposed to break roughly in half. Baffled, Hahn did the only thing he could think of. He wrote to Lise Meitner and begged her to explain it. She received his letter at Christmas, 1938. Walking in the snow in the Swedish village of Kungälv with her nephew, the physicist Otto Frisch, she worked it through. And she saw what Hahn could not. The uranium nucleus had not chipped. It had split, torn into two smaller atoms. And using Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared, Meitner calculated something staggering. A tiny amount of mass had vanished in the split and been converted into an enormous burst of energy. She had just explained for the first time the physics of a nuclear chain reaction waiting to happen. It was Frisch who gave it a name, borrowing a word from biology, the way a living cell divides. They called it fission. Sit with that for a moment. The chemist found the clue, but it was Meitner who understood what it meant. That humanity had just unlocked the energy inside the atom itself. Then came the publishing. Hahn published his chemical findings in Germany, but in that political climate, he could not safely name his Jewish former colleague as a partner. Strikingly, the word fission never even appeared in his paper. Meitner and Frisch published the explanation separately, the physics that made sense of it all. And slowly, dangerously, the credit began to split too, with Meitner pushed to the wrong side of the line. In 1944, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded for the discovery of nuclear fission. It went to Otto Hahn, alone. The woman who had urged the experiment, who had explained the result, who had done the physics, who had literally coined the word fission, was left off entirely. Over her career, Lise Meitner was nominated for a Nobel Prize 49 times. She never won once. Why was she excluded? Historians point to a tangle of reasons. The Nobel committees were poorly set up to judge a discovery that crossed between chemistry and physics. The committee during the war was working in isolation with limited expertise. Hahn, for his part, increasingly described the work as his own. And it is hard to ignore the obvious. She was a woman and a refugee, while he was a respectable German man who had stayed. It has gone down as one of the most unjust oversights in the history of science. But here is the part that tells you who Lise Meitner truly was. After fission was understood, governments raced to turn it into a weapon. Meitner was invited to join the project to build the atomic bomb. She refused flatly. "I will have nothing to do with a bomb," she said. She would not let her discovery become a tool for mass killing. She lived to 89, honored at last with awards and respect, if never the prize she had earned. Today, element 109 on the periodic table carries her name, Meitnerium, one of only a handful of elements ever named after a woman. And on her grave, her nephew wrote the line that says it best: Lise Meitner, a physicist who never lost her humanity. She gave the atomic age its name. History gave the prize to someone else. If you want more of the women whose discoveries were credited to the men beside them, subscribe, because there are so many more still waiting to be found.